So a super yacht formerly owned by the former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev has been sold to an American businessman. The super yacht named Motor Yacht Universe has been avoiding sanctions since 2022 when she left Italy and headed to Russia via Turkey. After being laid up in Sochi in Russia for quite a long time, the vessel then headed to Turkey and was laid up there, and it's been there pretty much for the last 3 years. But recently the vessel left her berth in Turkey and started heading towards the Mediterranean. Along the way, just as the vessel passed Crete, the vessel changed names from Universe to her new name. Now, if you know anything about this industry, you'll be aware of a super yacht owner who built a number of super yachts over the last few decades, and they all had names of James Bond movies. Now, these yachts initially were built to his very specific specifications, usually very fast yachts. Some of the fastest super yachts ever built were built for this owner. And the owner's name we're talking about is John Staluppi. Now, he recently sold his 50-meter vessel named Casino Royale, and it appears he did so to make way for his latest purchase, Motor Yacht Universe, which has just changed her name to Casino Royale. The yacht's name was changed, like I said, whilst out at sea, which is something that they generally do. Even if they're in port, they'll sail out into international waters, change the name, and sail back in under the new name. No need here because they were already at sea, heading to Tunisia, Bizerte in Tunisia, for probably refueling. Now the yacht has left Tunisia and is set sail for the United States and is currently sailing towards Gibraltar via the Mediterranean. The last time we talked about Motor Yacht Universe, we got emails from an American law firm. Actually, what was interesting is they were actually all Russian names. So they're all Russians living in the US, representing a US law firm. And they said, Medvedev does not own that yacht. We represent the owner. They never said who the owner was. Now, we believe that they were representing somebody, obviously will have been via a shell company and, a number of companies, but it all goes back to somebody called Igor Yusufov. We believe Yusufov is a shell owner of this yacht, and he actually works for Dmitry Medvedev. Now, if we look at this article here on the insider.ru, the background on Yusufov, it says the insider found new evidence of corrupt ties between Dmitry Medvedev and businessman Igor Yusufov, who, as we previously reported, had been purchasing assets in Russia and in the West in the interests and on behalf of the former Russian president. Medvedev's son is employed by Yusufov Jr. The Yusufovs not only conducted business on behalf of Medvedev, but were also business partners with leaders of the Russian mafia, the Tambov organized crime group, and the Gaziev gang. Before going to work for Yusufov, Medvedev's son was employed by Elisha Usmanov, he's the owner of Dilba, who sponsored his father's luxurious life. But while Usmanov is under Western sanctions, Yusufov, who manages Medvedev's wealth, avoided the sanctions list. And while Medvedev confesses in Telegram he hates the West, his wallet, Yusufov continues to do business there. Now, the former Bank of Moscow head Andrei Borodin said that when he sold the bank shares to Yusufov, he was firmly convinced that he was acting in the interests of Dmitry Medvedev. Yusufov explicitly told me he was acting in the interests of and on the instructions from President Dmitry Medvedev, who had made the decision to let the government take control of the Bank of Moscow. So that shows you that Yusufov, who's probably the straw owner for Universe, is working for Medvedev. It's just surprising, really, that a US businessman would purchase a yacht owned by the former president of Russia, who recently said he'd like to drop nuclear bombs on the UK. And, even if he believes the owner is Yusufov and not Medvedev, as we've shown here, it's not too hard to find who he works for. And even if you forget about who he works for, he has a history in Russia with organized crime. And, this story from the insider shows what we're talking about. Thanks very much for watching this video. You've been watching a Super Yacht News clip. If you'd like to see the full unedited Super Yacht News video, you can click on the link over here. You can also find our channel links below here. And if you'd like to see more shorter videos like this one, be sure to subscribe to this channel.